back to the Kanye thing on Cannon's class.
Yep.
So what I was saying is like, yo, if you spend $100 million on a place, bro, just to be in LA near people, like you're stupid. Like you could be establishing whole
Hella facts.
towns and stuff like that, and that's what Kanye's doing in Wyoming. He's just like, yo, I'm trying to build different houses and stuff. We're doing agriculture and stuff like that, and that's something I really admire about Kanye. And then even like what he was saying, like with the Yeezy stuff, he's like, yo, I got a plant here in Wyoming. I got one in I think he said Atlanta or like in Georgia. And he's like, yo, he's like, I'm creating jobs too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and he did say that like, hey, he might not win this election, but like 2024, he's like, yo, I'm going for it again. I'm gonna win.
Yo, right? Because like that's was like let's unpack this a little bit more for those who don't know.
Yeah, I jumped around a bit. My bad, but
Oh no, I'm with it. I'm for it. I'm about that energy, yo. I was really big on the Canon class, the podcast. So for starters, it was divided into two parts. And they were like released like a week apart, I think.
yeah.
But regardless, like I think one thing to kind of point out was the fact that both Nick Cannon and Kanye have been dragged through the mud in the news as of late, recently. For those you don't know, for those most people, I think if you see any type of media, mainstream media, you'll know. And so for both of them to come out with the especially Nick Cannon come out with a podcast episode of Cannon's class with both of them, I had to click. You feel me? Like Kanye on Cannon class, Cannon's back, especially after all that Viacom business. So I already know shit was gonna pop off. Like shit was gonna be good. I was like, we're in for something. And I think the first things off rip that I liked was the podcast went. I think it went. I feel like I can say it did not go according to what people probably thought it would go, or it didn't line up to people's like how I would say majority of people see Kanye, like how the media portrays him as like someone's unstable with a mental condition and everything like that. But no, my man was well spoken. My man was relaxed. My man was poised. My man was Kanye, so he kept talking. I mean, couldn't stop talking. But my man was like, you know what I'm talking about? Like he did not look like any way like the Kanye that we see in the media.
Yeah, and I think that's important, like that we own our own platforms because, like, bro, like, uh, they're gonna twist whatever we say and make us sound however they want us to sound.
Yep.
Where Kanye, you know what I mean, like sitting down with Nick Cannon, like there's no agenda to make him look crazy or anything like that. So, and what I appreciated is just getting an idea of how Kanye thinks. Like one thing that also sat well with me was like he was like, yo, like what we do sometimes we'll do this game where we'll get these pocket dictionaries and we'll go through and look at all these words that we think are positive and like highlight them and then look at the definition. And he was saying like, yo, like the word help, right, is one of the definitions of helping is to do nothing. You know what I mean? It's something that like we didn't like really register. And he's like, yo, man, that's how it is sometimes. We're like, you go into these offices looking for deals and stuff like that. And they're like, well, how can I help you? And it's like, all right, well, you're not helping. Well, you are doing your way of helping by doing nothing.
By doing nothing. Right? No, it's crazy. Like Kanye always has a way of looking at things in a Kanye way or like his own way. And then I think it's sometimes you do gotta take a second to kind of unpack what he's trying to say, because it's just like sometimes you're like, damn, that was like Kanye say something real, like really he'll say something intelligent or deep, but then like most of the time though, when he even does say anything along those levels, at first you're like, what the fuck you talking about, Kanye? Like that's like that just gets that always, that's what feel like it hits me first. But then when you sit down for a second and kind of unpack it, because I was thinking like help, and I was thinking like help really in a dictionary has a definition for like doing nothing, and I was just like, that's not, you would never think of that. Like help would have that definition,
But
or that you would break down help in that way.
To that point, though, it did hit me the next day because I was talking, to one of our friends that, ended up getting corona or whatever and sick, and he's just like, "Yo, I'm so eager to go back to work. That's the kind of person I am." But I'm like, I told him about like, that thing, and I was like, "Yo, honestly, the best way you can help is by not being there, like literally doing nothing, sitting on your ass and getting better. Like that is the best way you can help them right now." So I'm like, it it honestly kind of opened up my mind, especially like as a musician, of like, thinking about like how you use words and stuff like that. Because like Kanye brought it up in a negative light, but then I was like, yo, actually doing nothing can be positive. Like
Can be positive.
I'm like, fam, you need to do nothing because that's the only way you're going to get better, and you're going to hurt the people like at your job if you're going there and you're not able to function at even like 70%. You know what I mean?
True. And no, that's a great point. That's a great way to look at it. Just to even just go off of there, because I think for Kanye, his biggest thing is miscommunication with people and is how he uses his words and how he talks. And I think that's, like I said, that's like the big thing of it. Like a lot of times you would literally just look at Kanye's son. Kanye will tweet or something Kanye will write, and you literally be like, "What the fuck are you saying, Kanye?" And then I think now that we have that, seeing Kanye on Candace Class, like him having the time and being in a space where he could like just put out his thoughts and ideas without that we unfiltered, like unfiltered, like his thoughts and ideas. And shout out to Nick, but real rap, Nick wasn't even there. It was like Kanye was interviewing Kanye, like for part one.
Well, no, Nick was there, but I think Nick has a good way of like bringing stuff out of people and like knowing when to take the backseat. So he did mention a lot of good stuff and was able to segue into stuff, but he also knew that he didn't have to pull stuff out of Kanye.
Yeah, and I'm not saying like Nick wasn't there as an anything like as a slight to Nick. It's just because like Kanye, I think it's just Kanye, how Kanye's presence is when he's like in those interview spaces, like he could just go on and on.
Yeah, I
Like
think Nick just identified that like the biggest strength from like talking to Kanye is just like, you know, give Kanye something like, hey, blah blah blah, bring up a topic, and then just let Kanye do his
let
thing.
Kanye go,
Like he
and
did a
then
really
here and
good
there,
job
just
of guiding Kanye into, you know what I mean?
right, and then because he'll just go on. Like it's literally what it was. It just felt like Kanye was just going on. But no, let's get back more in the interview itself. Because one of the things was Kanye talked about was miscommunication, and one thing like in his words, he was saying like right now we're having war over words, when at some point we're gonna have wars over water in the future. And I was like, bars, son. Like people will get so hung up on words, like, and I think because it's not about the words, it's your intent is what matters. It's like what are you trying to say with those words? What do you really mean? Like people will get on you for by the very words you use and not what you're trying to say. Is what you're literally saying and not what you're actually trying to say to them. Um, and it's just like, who cares what words I'm using? If I could like Professor X, like telekinesis what I'm trying to say into your head directly, I would.
Yeah.
Like I would. It's like forget the words. They're just a vehicle to get my point across. Like let me just I'm trying to get my point across. Don't get harped up on the words themselves. Especially it's just like if people are literally canceling people for some of the things they say where they may not mean or they just get misinterpreted. Like for those cases, of people who just get misunderstood, which sucks because you're getting vilified for being misunderstood. So like what you're trying to say could be positive, could be to help someone or to provide some type of just to say something good. Then you get misunderstood, you could get vilified for it, be seen as a bad person. But like, wait, I wasn't trying to do bad. I was trying to do good.
No, and that's something I've been learning, especially in the past couple of months, where it's like, people were going to,
Excuse me, sorry.
people are going to, be upset about words, which I think is just crazy because, like, again, like, I'm the kind of person where it's like, if I don't care about you, you can't make me upset. You don't have that kind of power. The moment I care about you, then I give you the power to make me upset. But the
Yeah.
important thing is just like, to like, his point is like the intent. I might say something that offends you, but it's like, hey, you know what? My intention was not to hurt you by saying this. You know, I may not be able to communicate, the best all the time, but like, hey, my intent is not to offend you or anything like that. This is what I'm trying to say.
True, man.
And
Words
and
are just words, man.
in this internet culture, you don't get the chance to clarify.
Nah.
Like, you say something and then like your words, it starts getting retweeted and stuff like that. You can't even delete it fast enough for people to, or anything like that. And people just get so like charged up over what you say and like don't even take the time to understand.
Nah, man. Nah. And just piggyback off that, because
Bro, you could tweet, yo, Trump's hilarious. And like, oh my God, you support Trump? Yo, cancel him, blah, 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 all this
that's
stuff
not
like
what I
that.
said.
And it's like, no, I'm like, yo, you found something he said funny. Like, that doesn't mean like you support them per se.
Yeah, what you said, like I got what you said. So Trump's hilarious. So, like, he's a funny dude. He's a funny guy. He's a funny guy. Like, this dude does very hilarious things.
And
Yes,
then some people will take it as, oh,
you're
I'm
a Trump
supporting Trump.
supporter.
Some people will say, oh, I'm bashing Trump by saying he's hilarious.
You
Where
have
I'm
a
like,
MAGA
yo, you,
hat in your closet, do you? I'm like,
bro. And the thing is, it's
oh,
like, and that's what I
what?
learned. That's why I try to be very clear in my communication
The
because it's
fuck?
like, but it almost doesn't matter because people are going to interpret it based on their own bias, however they want. You know what I'm
However they
saying?
want.
Like, I'm
Exactly.
literally saying this dude is funny to me. Some side will say, "Oh, I'm supporting him." Some side will say, "I'm bashing him." All this other stuff like that. But I'm like, no, I was very clear in my intentions by saying that this person is hilarious.
And just to go off of, yeah, no, exactly. That's just, I don't know what better way to say it. No, literally, exactly. And what makes it even worse or more complicated or more difficult is the fact that we're communicating on the probably the worst platform to to manifest or get your intent across, the goddamn internet, through text, through digital communication. Like, I can't express, I can say my words, but I can't send my feelings, my, like, how I feel along with those words. Like, when you get those words, that's why, like, the whole, like, when you text somebody, sometimes you're like, damn, let me put a LOL behind this real quick before I don't see it sound like a psychopath to some shit sometimes. Because you're just like, if someone just loosely just read this, like, without knowing me, or like, they're like, you'll sound crazy, except when with someone who knows you will read, like, say the same sentence or whatever, they'll be like, oh, I know what you're talking about because I know you.
Fam, like I've had somebody get upset with me because like, I downgraded to like an iPhone like 7 temporarily. Well, it's been longer than temporarily, but my intention was temporarily.
My intent was
So
temporarily. There we
sometimes
go.
I'll go to hit the space bar or something or go to, you know what I mean? And then like the letter M will come out too. And then like I'll go send. And then someone like got really upset because I put that M there. They're like, oh, what is that supposed to be? Blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I just fat fingered it. Like, relax.
I got fat fingers. I do too. I got clumsy. I have like clumsy ass hands, like fingers. When
I'm like, bro,
uh
the keyboard on this thing is like tiny, bro. Like, this isn't, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, it was an accident. Relax. Like,
you can't make
it's
accidents.
not to
Like, you can't
defend
make
you.
accidents when you talk. You can't. Yeah, it's not being able to take back things you say and do when you talk.
Yeah, it's like they expect you to be perfect with everything, and it's like, yo, we're humans
But
for a
life
reason,
is
bro.
imperfect. Life is not perfect.
Like,
That's like,
even machines mess up. Like, relax.
they got, yeah, error. They got they literally have like built-in, like, or just like equations to calculate risk.
Nigga,
And
technology has to be updated. Like, come on, dog. Like,
constantly, nigga, you think you got to be updated too?
exactly.
People don't think they got to get an update. Some people are like hella updates behind, bro. Their firmware is on some old. We good. We going too deep. But
Um, do we want to keep on the Kanye thing, or we want to move forward?
Oh no, it's no. We gotta let's stay on the Kanye thing. Let me hit some points because I think this was I think he talked a lot of very good a lot of things that yeah. Let me highlight some more things. Let me just get into it. So for other things in the podcast, um, like Kanye was one thing he talked about was like as himself, being a fashion designer or trying to get into the fashion game. It wasn't easy. Niggas weren't letting him in. He couldn't get in, and
Oh,
he said this
facts.
many times. Like no one was trying to let him into the fashion game. So he said he had to make himself he had to make a place for himself in the fashion game. And then it's just like, and then when he did that, bro, non-complete disclosures that came
Oh yeah,
in.
non-competes. Yeah,
Yeah,
because he
like
did Nike, and I forget what other brand. I think he
it
said
was
like Louis.
Nike and I think it was Nike. Was it Nike and Adidas at the time?
Nah, he did Nike, and I think he did like Louis at the same time.
Yes. No. It was a Louis and an Adidas. It was Louis and
No, no,
Adidas.
no, no. It was early. It was early. It
It was
was
before that.
yeah. It was back when he was with Nike. It was Nike and I think Louis at the same time. He
Right.
dropped. I think he dropped shoes for them both. Except like the Louis one, I don't think anybody really knew because like it's not like his name was like tied to it the same way that Nike was.
The Nike was, but he basically they dropped the same time, and then like they were like, oh, like this man fiddled two big brand two huge fashion labels, like two like clothing brands. He fiddled them. He
I don't even know if
fiddled
it's
them.
fiddled. Like he's not an employee of them. Like
But think of
you're
it
doing
this
a
way.
partnership with them. You know what I mean?
No, it's a partnership, yeah.
And
But the
if you're
thing
not
is, the
explicitly
influence of the
putting that
game.
in there, then like that's on you. You know what I mean? Like
That is true. No, I say he fiddled them is because how they responded. Because I go by how they responded. Because after that event, they were
that's
like, "Oh
negligence,
shit, he
bro.
fucked this up." Yeah, non-complete disclose. Yeah, non-competes. Then after that, when he went to the Gap, he said, "When I went to the Gap, he found out from somebody else connected that the Gap, everybody placed non-competes on the Gap when he went, like all the other
Oh yeah.
brands, and he's
Oh
just
for sure.
like yo, it's a show. Like if you really are about fashion, don't let anything stop you. If you really have like, don't let anything stop you, because he wasn't letting these people stop him because he knew that's what he wanted to do. He always had that dream, and like the fact is, bro, he wasn't letting them stop him. And now look, now they don't even want to mess with him, bro.
Facts.
They don't even want to mess with him. Forbes, he was talking about Forbes being his favorite white supremacy
Yo, that was a bar.
platform.
Nah, cause real rap though is like if you're not in
Uh,
like their hip hop like Cash Kings or whatever, they ain't trying to really give you credit elsewhere, bro.
yup. Forbes, and he brought it up many times. He talked
He's-
about it many times. Is that my dog? Oh yeah, that's my dog coming in. Don't mind him. I don't think you can even see him. He's too low. And my
Damn,
door moved
man.
from the back. Nah, bro, Forbes snubbed him because, like you said, he wasn't following the norm for black people for being a billionaire. He was like, y'all trying to force you in the box. Like, he was a billionaire for like way before he said Forbes said he was. Is because the fact is he was going to be a billionaire for because of his fashion design and his music.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Yo," and I think just the what that he was saying is like, "Yo, don't be afraid to pursue multiple talents," because he's like, "I'm a multi genius." Even the term multi genius, because he's like, or like the term because he's like, like multi talented,
Yeah.
and then sometimes like for talent, like you can either already have the talent or you can grow the talent. So he's like, don't let yourself be, oh, I'm just Zan the podcaster. No, I could be Zan the fashion designer if I choose to, because I define myself. That's what Kanye was saying. That's why we see it with Cole right now. J. Cole is trying to be like, nah, I'm not trying to be Cole the rapper. I'm trying to be Cole the NBA star too. I'm trying to be Cole, the fucking, supporter for Black Lives. And so I'm trying to be Cole the father, because Cole did come out and said he had kids. I know we never
Yeah, he
covered
been
that.
said that. No,
Yeah,
he
but we
been
never
said that.
covered it. But we never covered it.
Nigga, why is that new?
Nah, he just came out the cut. Because remember,
nigga.
because I was gonna tie the whole Drake thing. That's something else. But basically,
Yo, he's not ashamed of his kids, bro. He's
that's what I
married.
wanted to bring up is the fact that he wasn't ashamed.
Well, he was married and everything, and he. Well, all right.
All right, see.
But yeah, I didn't want to. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Kanye just saying like, "Yo, pursue your talents, y'all. Real rap. Don't try to be forced in no box. Don't
Gang,
put yourself
facts.
in a box. Other people
Facts.
will try to put you in a box.
Took the words out of my mouth.
Don't put
Facts.
yourself in a box. You could go ahead, elaborate on that. I know you probably got words on that. I have something else, but say what you want to say about that.
Nah, you said what I was gonna say. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're multi-talented. We can do more than one thing, and like, why not? Like, even in hip hop, for the longest, it's like you do music, and then like, you know, you try to get into acting. They look at you like you're crazy. Like with Cole, they look at him like he's crazy for trying to get into like sports. Like niggas were looked at crazy for a while trying to run their own labels. Like, but
I'm saying,
let our white counterparts do it. And it's like, oh my god, like you got our full support. Like Logic, you know, Logic was writing screenplays and books, and now he's streaming on Twitch, and nobody has a problem with it. But let a nigga try doing that. You know, Soldier Boy was doing that way before him. We don't support Soldier
we
Boy.
didn't support. We try to clown, or we always try to clown. I'm like, Tiny's like, enough of that. Stop. Or no, it's overall not Kanye. I'm saying enough of that. Stop clowning. Stop clowning our own. Stop clowning niggas for trying to do other things, yo. Like,
yeah, Joe Budden was talking about that a bit too. Like that's a whole nother deeper conversation.
it is because and just another example. I thought of Ludacris was starting hip hop. He went into acting, bro.
Yeah, man.
Let's not. And damn, yo. I mean, yo, I'll be real. Like for this interview, bro. Like I watched it. I watched it front and back because you know I think like this as an individual. I think there's something that draws me to Kanye. I'm not saying I'm a stan, but I say something about this as an individual, like how he thinks and his outlook on life. I it does draw me because he doesn't seem to let a lot of things stop him. And I'm trying and I think because nothing should stop you from doing the things you really want, you know? Because he went from wanting to do fashion from being like probably the most feared individual in fashion. Wherever he goes, money is sure to follow. Wherever he
Facts.
goes, people don't want to compete with him. He's able to sell t-shirts, white t-shirts for $80.
Well, no, and that's you know, to quickly like touch on the Joe Budden thing because I feel like we should talk about that.
Oh, I wanted to give him.
Depth
I
next
wanted
week.
to give that its own segment. But no, do
Yeah,
your thing.
I was gonna get into that more next week, but you know, Joe kind of has that same power in the podcasting space. Like I feel like he's like the Kanye of podcasting right now. Whereas like wherever he goes, people are gonna follow. Like, and it's proven. Like, look at Spotify. Like, Spotify is in a position where they can give, you know, what I mean, Joe Rogan 300 mil because of the impact that Joe Budden had.
And
So
yet they don't want to give Joe because Joe supposedly asked for $250 million.
yeah, he debunked that. He's like, nah, I didn't ask for that much.
He debunked that.
Yeah,
Boom.
he said he didn't ask for that much.
The smear campaign continues. See, that was something I heard and couldn't even fact check myself. It was something like, "Yo, is that true?"
But
But
the thing
even
is,
then,
even if
I
he
was like, I
did,
had no
like,
problem with it. I was just like,
exactly,
bro, he
I have
got them. He made them. Yo, he made them 9 figures. He
Facts.
said, I made them 9 figures. And what did they offer him back for making them 9 figures? Watches.
They couldn't
He
even
talked
give my
about
man
that.
the watch.
Peep last episode if you're trying to peep that floor seats episode 19.
But yeah, let's move forward though for the sake of time.
Yeah. No, just to wrap up what Kanye was talking about, and I think Kanye was even trying to talk about on some heavy things, bro. But Cannon class, I think Nick Cannon was just like, yo, let's not canceled again. I think I think Cannon also operated in under that scope, right? I think that's also made him a good interviewer, but
Yeah.
it also I think for Kanye, it's like it's I guess he does need like a filter, but always like it's always good for whoever's interviewing to be his filter, but like he was gonna hit on something that I think as a black person, coming from another black person, of having a platform like Kanye, like it needs to be said. Like, I mean, I'll say it because I mean, I guess we have platforms, I guess. So, Kanye was going to touch on the fact of like liberal racism that doesn't really get, like, you know, that's a thing, and that, you know, doesn't really get touched upon. Uh like he was bringing up things like statistics about, for black people, like especially being black influential voices, his words, he's like, we act like we're housekeepers in America. Like we have to operate under a guise that makes other people feel comfortable or people feel safe, you know. And he's just like,
Yes.
and then he's just like, and like, yo, we gotta, like, nah, we gotta stop that. Like, he was just like, yo, first it was just like, yo, like black people, uh and of course, you know, not to, you know, because politics is always around us. He was just, one thing is just like, the box that is politics. He was just like, don't feel like you got to be a Democrat when there is, you know, we have a history of being black people that have a history of Republican. Just show that there's two sides to the party, especially when there's a lot of like he was going to liberal racism before Nick Cannon stopped him, because it was also tying to like Planned Parenthood, killing a lot of black babies.
Yeah.
Which is, he says, like, you know, it's in the stats. It's confirmed, combined versus all other leading factors of death for the African American community.
Yeah.
America, number one combined is from Planned Parenthood, is abortion.
Yeah.
And for some fun facts for y'all, Margaret Sanger, creator of Planned Parenthood, who's also, who I know this name when you mentioned it from my own readings and research, was Hillary Clinton's mentor. Look into her a little more, you actually will find an interesting tidbit that she believes in the eradication of black people.
Yeah.
Yeah, she literally just like, black people shouldn't exist. Like, that's literally her stance. Like, verbatim, like her, you could look it up yourself, quote, like verbatim. She's literally not about nigga. At least she's upfront about it.
Yeah, that's the kind of
I
racism
respect that.
I
She's upfront about it.
appreciate.
I'm just like, great. I know you just really want to get rid of black people, so I know how to respond to you in kind. And then and then that's what Connor was saying, liberal racism, or like he says in his he said it in his music, New Slaves. He was just like, you know, they'll look up like there's poor black racism. They'll just like, you can't buy anything in the store, and then there's the rich kind. Oh, come in, please buy more. Like, you know, like
Yeah.
I know I fucked up the whole bar, but there's two sides to it. There's the upfront kind, like you'll have the Margaret Sanger, like look into it, who's literally Planned Parenthood trying to kill us niggas. Be on the lookout. And then we'll have the not so direct racism.
Yeah.
Um, and that was just in part one. So I'll leave it off there
Well,
because,
all right, so I'll jump into that too, because
yeah, no, you go into that.
really quick with
Like,
the Planned Parenthood thing, is like there's so much that is destroying us, that like is in place to destroy us, that we're not addressing like at all. And Kanye has a point with that, where it's just like, yo, like, it's not to say that like, you know, Black Lives Matter isn't a valid thing or anything like that, but at the same time, it's like, you know, I think we just need to really take a look at, like, you know, truly none of these people are really out to help us. You know what I mean? Like, liberals, like, were against desegregation, especially Joe Biden. He was an active opponent of it. Um, you know, Planned Parenthood was a Democratic thing. Margaret Sanger came out and openly said she didn't like black. Like, we have this like stigma of thinking that Democrats are like instantly for us, when even like, you know, the Clintons were calling us super predators in the 90s.
you
And
want me
they
to
had,
take it? I could take it out even further, bro.
and the
Like,
crime bill like specifically was against like us, to give us harsher sentences for things, because prisons now
are like, well, not now, but they've been like they're a business. You know what I mean? So like it's you know what I mean. There's a lot that like we're not paying attention to, and we're just assuming these people are like here to help us, and then that's why I
Because
said
they're
like,
in the positions we assume that they are. Because like, well, they're the president. They have to be about helping me. I'm like, well, I mean,
well,
that's in their job description.
the Democratic rebrand is like crazy, bro. They went from like being completely against us to like suddenly, like, especially like when Clinton came through, my man played a sax on Arsenio, and all of a sudden Democrats love niggas, bro.
Bro, even the family, bro, stop. I can't. Bill's a character, bro. I will forever say Bill is a character. Bill Clinton's a character.
But what I will
He's
say to your earlier point really quick though is I do think, like, to the housekeepers things, like I had this conversation with a coworker, and I'm like, yo, one thing that kind of annoys me is like, we as Black people have to express our discomfort with things within the comfort of our oppressors.
Yep.
So it's like how they want us to, express it, or like when, or what to
When
talk
they're
about.
comfortable.
Yeah, and it's
I
like,
have an issue. Damn. Can you hit me? Can you talk about it with me at this time on this day? Because I feel best comfortable
well, it's not
handling
even
that type
that.
of issue.
It's like, yo, bro, like
Just an example.
you
That's how
can't
it
even
sounds
get
like.
passionate about, like, you have to be very cold about the things that make you uncomfortable, because like the moment you don't, you're the angry Black person. You're the
Yep.
angry Black guy. You're the angry Black woman, and then that scars you in your corporations or whatever, like, relationships you have.
Or worse,
Meanwhile,
it
like,
puts you in a box, and then once you're in that box, people automatically assign certain like attributes and like stigmas to you when they
yeah,
put you in a box. That's why boxes suck. Only when
yeah,
you're moving.
and,
Fuck
and it's
boxes.
and it's tough too, because like white guilt's at an all-time high, and it's just like, bro, like you can't be more upset about this stuff than I am. It's impossible,
It's
because this doesn't
impossible. You
affect you.
cannot be more like passion driven, or not obviously not passion driven, but no, it's just you really can't. Because I'm like, I lived it. I've been there. I was in it. I'm still in it. I have to live it for probably for the rest of my life.
Yeah, like I
God
had a
willing.
situation at one of my old jobs where this girl would hear me and other Black people talk to each other and call each other nigga, and she complained about it, saying that it was offensive. I'm like, offensive to who? I'm like, because we're saying it within the comfort of ourselves. Are you offended because you can't say it, or are you being offended for us? Because
Or
we don't need you to be
are you
offended
offended
for
because
us.
we're not offended?
Yeah, like nigga, we don't call each other nigga. We don't call each other nigga. Like,
Nigga,
fuck.
nigga, nigga.
I'm like, that's our
Shoot.
right. I'm like, that's our
Great. We
privilege.
probably
I'm
can't
like,
even upload this on YouTube anymore. Thanks a lot.
I'm like,
Thanks, Sally, whatever her name was.
that's our
Give her a
privilege.
random
Like,
name.
if you're gonna try to take away the privilege of us saying a word, that's why I was like, all right, if you're gonna be upset about me saying like the N word, I'm like, I better not hear y'all ever cuss. I better not hear y'all say any kind of sexual innuendos or anything, or I'm going straight to HR. I'm like, if you're gonna take away the one thing we have, like, mind you, the fact that you're in this position is because you're white, not because you're good at your job. Like, no, I'm lighting everybody up, and that's what eventually got me fired. I was lighting niggas up. I was like, oh nope, can't say that. They would quote The Office like, that's what she said. I'm like, yo, you can't say that. I'm like, somebody cuss? Nope, can't say that. If I can't say the
Nope.
N word, you can't say any of that stuff.
Even if they say damn, I don't care if you talk about Kendrick's album. Guess what?
I was,
Kendrick's got you written up at HR for
yeah,
saying
I was
damn.
lighting niggas up. I was like, bro, if you're gonna try to censor
Getting
me,
lit.
I'm like,
We ain't
nigga, this
having
is
that.
about to be the most PC place ever, bro.
You're about to be PC tax. PC tax, y'all. Y'all don't want to see PC tax. I don't want to see PC tax. Shoot, I don't even want to even think about if I think there's PC tax, it's probably a PC Xan. I don't even think about that. Fuck. Yo,
Nah,
dog,
bro.
real talk, moral of the story. Yo.
Stop being a bitch. That's the
Stop
moral of
being
the
a
story.
bitch. Stop being a baby back bitch. All right.